Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting in about 90 seconds. So take a moment if you'd like to get a piece of paper, pencil, or pen, and we'll get started. I don't know what that means. Oh, God. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm ready to begin. We are going to be discussing autism today and discipline options for you and for your family. To start, my name is Dr. Kat Derrig Palumbo. I'm a marriage and family therapist and psychologist. So I will be discussing these things with you today. What I'd like you to do is get ready to explore and begin your journey of new options. And some of these options may be ones that you've had before, maybe there's ones that you've used before, but I may give you a different, maybe take on it. So have an open mind. Leading to that, I have a few ground rules and guidelines. The first one, have an open mind. Participate fully, meaning listen and see how you can apply, and be willing to look at life a little bit differently. Sometimes parenting is very frustrating for all of us with any situation. So when you add uh, autism to the mix, it can be a little bit more frustrating and a little bit more time consuming, and in some cases, a lot more. So, we're going to work on some of those issues this morning. What I'd like you to do is really think about wanting your life to change. And with that, change is difficult. If you can, cross your arms comfortably the way you normally would. Now cross them the opposite way. So again, you cross them comfortably the way you normally cross your arms, fold them across your chest, and then I want you to do it the opposite way. And in doing that, you'll see that even that slight change is difficult. You may be struggling with placement of your hands, or some of you may not even be able to do it. And that's just because change is very difficult. So when you take on some other things like discipline with your child, it can be very difficult because the process of change is difficult. But eventually, through perseverance and dedication, you will find it to be a lot more smooth. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now is sit back and think about how you would like your life to be. What would be better for you? Would it be less tantrums? Would it be consistency with the child? What would it be? That's what I want you to think about. Take about 30 seconds, sit back, close your eyes, and think about that. Okay. Excuse me. Just a reminder, take notes if you can, stay to the end, participate fully, keep an open mind. That's so important. And definitely ask questions. I know you may be feeling worried about what's going on presently in your life, as well as what's going to go on in the future. And that worry can lead to a lot of stress and anxiety. I know you're feeling frustrated, oftentimes not having the tools or the skills needed to deal with the situation at hand, and that can be very frustrating. Couple that with worry, which could then lead to anger. Anger sometimes is an emotion we have because we're scared. We don't know what to do with what we have. We're not feeling heard. Maybe we're not seeing some of the tools that we've learned working instantly or even after a couple of days. And that can lead to anger. Now, the anger is just a person's way of trying to express their emotion, but coming from a place of, I can't take it anymore. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. That's why I want you to sit back, listen to this today, because I'm here to give you hope. I want you to look at it from a standpoint of here's going to be some options that I can apply and use today. Start today. So I want you to feel that hope. I want you to feel that there is positivity out there. There's something there that's going to help you with your child through this process, as well as yourself. And this seminar is going to do that for you. Now, with that comes a sense of relief when you start seeing things work. Now, that may be a couple of days, it could be a week, it could even be a month. And at the end of that month, all of a sudden it clicks in, something clicks, something's working. And that sense of relief is fantastic. Now, during that whole month time, I will be here for support. So I will have that option for you. So I want you to think about that when you're thinking about what is it that you want for your future. And I would think that all of us would want to get rid of some of the worry, frustration, and anger. As a parent, we can't get rid of all of that just because we're parents. We will experience that. But when you see things work, you will have that sense of relief. Now, we're going to be going into the Autism Behavioral Challenge. Now, I want you to think about my background. I founded the company mytherapynet.com in April of 2000. It's an online therapy company. And the reason why I started that was because I wanted to help a large amount of people. And in my community, there are a large amount of people, but not at the levels that you can reach online. So that's why we started the company. And we have helped thousands of people nationwide over the years. And that's what I'm here to do today. I have written a book about online therapy, it's online therapy, a therapist's guide to expanding your practice. And I've trained hundreds of even thousands of therapists nationwide. I speak about online therapy internationally for various organizations. I do have a private practice, and I work with couples and families and individuals looking at family dynamics, behavior, and discipline, and children with autism. Oftentimes, it's working with the families and learning how to deal with the specific and special needs of that child. So, we will explore that throughout today. Now, when we look at the three behavioral problems, it's lack of communication, aggression, and tantrums. Many of that, most of that comes from stress and anxiety. They don't have the full ability to express their emotions and express what they're saying. I look at children who do not have autism, and sometimes their difficulty explaining what they are thinking and what they're feeling. And you want to be able to connect that thought and that feeling together. So they have a thought, that thought then develops an emotion, but how do the two relate? And how can they overcome that emotion? By using more of a thought process. So that's part of what you're going to be learning, how to reduce that stress and anxiety. Oftentimes with children with autism, you'll start seeing their stress build up, and you'll see that through their reaction to certain things. They may begin to talk to themselves. They may withdraw from their family or friends or wherever they are. Their breathing becomes rapid or slow. Their muscles become tense, and especially around their shoulders and neck. And oftentimes they'll bring up their shoulders right up to around their ears. They're definitely feeling the stress and anxiety. They could be rubbing their hands, pacing, rocking. There's a lot of different things that children will do to provide comfort for themselves. And with somebody with autism, the stress is pretty high because they are constantly put in a position of having to reorient themselves to their surroundings and feel the pressures and the responses of others. That's just a natural occurrence, excuse me, with autism. So they are going to be in that place of stress and anxiety. And that's why many of them lead to aggression and tantrums. They don't have the words, they don't have the ability to connect that thought and that feeling together and then express it. So, those are some things I want you to think about with it. It's not necessarily to push your buttons all the time or to ruin your dinner, it's because they're unable to communicate. Now, sometimes punishment can work and sometimes it doesn't. And the reason why it doesn't is because they don't understand it. So, some of the things that you may be doing where you feel that you are doing the right thing, but what it does is it ends up in a tantrum. And it could be you just need to tweak it a bit. Just tweak it a bit. Again, this is a learning process. So let's look at some of the things that we can do. What are the solutions? Solutions are very, very important. The other thing that's very important is support. So I will be talking further about the support options that we have for you. Now, with aggression, oftentimes music can help. Music can help calm what's going on with your child. Find a piece of music that is going to keep them calm. I really recommend music that does not have words. Words sometimes can cause confusion or frustration because uh, many times you don't even understand what they're saying. So I want you to think about that in um, in your selection of music. Find something that's very, very calming. Excuse me. Relaxation music. It's vital. It's vital because when you start seeing them do certain things, maybe when they're feeling that stress and anxiety, they're speaking loudly. Maybe they're going to take off and run. They're darting away from you. There's so many different things that they begin to do to show that stress and anxiety. Having that music with you is so important. Now, this is music that I would recommend that maybe you put on in the morning when they wake up, you put on again in the evening, because what you're doing is you're triggering a response of calmness and stress reduction. Now, what I'd like to bring up right now is There is a behavioral system, and it's was introduced by Pavlov, and the best example is Pavlov and his salivating dogs. And it's an example because it really does apply to human beings as well. And the behavioral technique was to show the dog a piece of meat and ring the bell. The dog sees the meat, begins to salivate. Pavlov did this over and over and over again, creating a pattern. That's the key. It needs to be done over and over and again. Many parents that I see will come in and say, I've tried it a couple of times and it just didn't work. It has to be more than a couple of times. They need to see things over many times. If we look at just plain marketing, they say somebody needs to see a television commercial 8 or 9 times before it's something that they're going to at least try. So thinking about that, going back to Pavlov, shows the dog the meat, rings the bell, dog salivates over and over and over again. Eventually, the pattern is ingrained, and now all Pavlov needed to do was ring the bell, and the dogs began to salivate with no sight of the meat. So it's creating a behavioral pattern. Music can be a huge part of that. So you can have a system with you, a portable system that you could play the music on your phone or maybe an iPod or something simpler, but you have that music, have it in the car. Um, but have it be a trigger and be a part of that relaxation. I would even encourage you as a mom and a dad to have the same type of thing. Pick out a piece of music that you will use for yourself over and over and over again that can get you to calm down. That would be something that I really recommend. The other thing I would do, at first, some people say, oh, I've tried charts, I've tried graphs, I've tried all sorts of things. That never, ever works. But really, if you use it appropriately, it does work. And the reason being is it's a tool used to connect the thoughts and the feelings for your child. It also allows you to keep a record of what's going on with your child, and they can visually see it. That's so important. So, an ideal would be for you to create a chart around something that they're doing where they show aggression. Maybe it's brushing their teeth. Instead of saying, oh, you must brush your teeth. No, you're brushing your teeth. You're brushing your teeth. You can say things. We have this chart. Get stickers. Have them pick out the stickers that they want. Have your child help you with the chart. Even if you're doing it on the computer or you're writing it out yourself, have them do that. And every day that they brush their teeth with a minimal prompt, you add a star. Maybe if they do it without it, you add 2 stars. Now have a delayed response of gratification, meaning have the chart go for a week or have the chart go for 3 days. And then eventually you can build up. Just remember, with each level, there will be levels of frustration, but you're going towards the goal. So keep that in mind, that if you do it for 3 days and you say, oh my gosh, it's working great, I don't want to add another day. We'll keep that going for a while, but then eventually add another day. And I will be able to support you with that process because once you have something down, you don't want to rock the boat again. But it is important for your child to keep improving and keep getting better with those levels. Now, tantrums. Tantrums are never fun. No parent says, oh, I love when my kid throws a tantrum. No one likes it. The difference being is with a child with autism, oftentimes is unable to break free of that tantrum. And many times it's because they're unable to communicate. What I recommend is beginning keeping a journal. Keep a journal. It could be a tiny little notepad you keep in your purse or your back pocket. And what you're going to do is you're going to keep track. Maybe there's certain areas that cause the trigger. But if you have other kids involved or you're with other families and you're not paying attention to some of those triggers like we all do, keeping a little journal will be helpful. Jot down. Maybe there's something your child doesn't like to be around animals. Maybe Your child does like to be around animals and doesn't want to be taken away. Maybe there's crowds, certain crowds that they don't like to be around. That could be in large arenas for games, Disneyland, certain things like that. Maybe there's other things that you can do to help accommodate. I don't mean you need to take all those things away, but learn how to deal with your child in that environment. You can even bring a tiny chart and say, well, if we get through this time, we're going to do this, and add those stickers. Now, I know that's the last thing you want to be doing at Disneyland, but adding a sticker is going to be less of an issue than dealing with a tantrum in public. Now, keep in mind, one of the biggest part of the tantrums in public is the level of embarrassment that we feel. And that feeling is never good because it's that perceived sense of judgment from other people. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what you're dealing with. They don't know what's going on with the child. So it's reducing your stress level because most people have been through that before. So try not to get too connected with that. And that night, I would recommend that you also treat yourself to some soothing music and calming um, music that's going to help you. So those are some things to deal with the tantrums. The other thing is many times people will allow the tantrums to play out in a public place. If you are able to deal with that and not allow your anxiety and anger and frustration to elevate, then that's fine. Let it play out. And hopefully you encourage your child to say, wow, that tantrum was only 5 minutes long instead of 10 minutes long. That was much better. Find the positive that you can and encourage your child and to let them know that that is getting better. Excuse me. Also, uh, have them come up with a word. You two, the three of you sit down or sit down as a family and decide what would be my word if I am feeling as though I am getting stressed out and I'm going to have a tantrum. Maybe they can use the word. Pick something simple, strawberry, um, their favorite animal, use it. And when they use that, that's when you instantly turn and give them the attention that they need at that moment to be able to calm them down. So you're working together as a family. And again, keeping that chart at home is so important. Now, your tantrums at home, it's the same thing. It's allowing them to play it out, maybe allowing them to go to their room if you see that happening. If they have that ability to go to their room, say to them, you have every right to your emotions and your feelings, and I want to be able to hear you, but I can't when you're having a tantrum. So place them in their room, allow them to have their emotions if they're safe to be in the room by themselves, and allow them to have their emotion. Once they're done, check on them and have a conversation with them. Again, short and sweet, depending on where your child is with communication levels. Now, some of your children may be nonverbal. If they're nonverbal, then using the chart is so important. It shows them that you know what's going on and that you can keep track together. And it's almost their way of being able to be verbal when they're placing that sticker on that chart. It's very empowering because you're actually communicating together, but non-verbally. Now, just I touched base on it a little bit, but I want to go back to that. Other people's reactions. It's easy to say, hard to do. So I do know that. But we need to focus on our children and what is best for them. And oftentimes we get so focused on what other people are thinking and saying. They don't live your life. They don't know what's going on, but many people do have the ability to judge other people's lives. There will always be those people. But this is one thing to really, really keep in mind how the brain works and what it does to kind of mess with us. Now, I say that in a fun way, but it really does mess with us. You could have 20 people walk into a room and say, wow, you look fabulous. and the next person, one person, one, walks in and gives you a look like, oh, what is that person wearing? Who will you be thinking of? I bet you'll be thinking about that one person. Why did they look at me that way? What's wrong with what I'm wearing? And we focus less on the 20 people who were supportive and kind. So when you're out and you are in the public, think about it this way. And maybe even tell yourself while your child is having the tantrum, there's probably 95 people here who are supportive of me and actually probably saying, oh my gosh, that mother has to deal with the tantrum. And they're feeling empathic. And you may have 5 that offer judgment or looks. Don't focus on those 5. Think about the 95. You're going to feel better. You may not see the whole 95, but they're there. Trust me, they're there. Try not to get so focused on those 5 that offer judgment, because really it's more of a reflection of them than it is of you. So think about those things when you're out there and dealing with people's reactions. Now, before we get into the miracle question, I want you to think about yourself also, because it is so important to not have what we call caretaker burnout. So you need to take care of yourself as well. I'm going to take a couple of questions. Let's see. Leona King. Let me go ahead and read that. I'm so sorry. I need to scroll down a bit. There it is. Okay. Our son is 14, nonverbal. He throws things, pulls hair, bites, pinches, not hard, almost like a warning. He watches for your reaction. He had some issues where a teacher hurt him. His behavior's escalating. They put him in isolation for most of the year until we pulled him out because he started pooping on his hand and throwing it in isolation. He's very seldom throws things at home. He's never pulled my hair or bites or pinches me. Well, Leone, you've created a safe environment as at his home. He feels comfortable. I'm so sorry that they chose to isolate him. I can see why the school decided to do that, because they didn't want him to harm others. But isolating him is not the best choice. He's going to feel stress and anxiety because he's not being heard. He's not being seen. So I would definitely go back. To that school or change a school that's going to, and I don't know if you have those options, but ideally would be to get him into a school that knows how to deal with the needs that he has. um, because he's nonverbal, all he has is the connection he has with somebody. um, so taking that away reduces all forms of communication for him. So definitely find him an environment where he's going to thrive. Now at home, along with school, once he gets to a new school, or maybe the school that is going to work with you, but creating those charts, having it be a good day. Now this is the other thing with teachers. Oftentimes they'll tell the parent, oh, this was a really, really bad day. This was a rough day. Say to them, yes, let's get down to it. Let's figure out why it was such a rough day. But exactly how long was the rough day? Sometimes they're at school for 6 hours a day, and the rough part was an hour, just an hour. So, what happened the other 5 hours? Yes, you want to specifically focus on that 1 hour and say, let's see what that behavior is. Let's see what we can do to take that undesirable behavioral away. But if the other 5 hours were actually good, what can we do to reinforce that behavior of that 5 hours? Because again, oftentimes teachers are dealing with multiple children and they've had 1 hour that's horrible, but the way they speak to the parent is that we had a rough day. So I think trying to use different terminology and different ways of approaching things with the teacher is going to be very important for your child as well as for yourself and for that teacher. The teacher does need to say, oh, wait, those other 5 hours were good. Okay, let's reinforce that part. Let me go to another question here. Okay, I think I've got set. I've got many questions here. One of them is, how do the charts work? How do the charts work exactly? So let me go into that a little bit more. Um, you can develop charts, sit down with your child, maybe sit down with your partner ahead of time and see what behaviors that you want to um, not have anymore. What are some things that you can come up with? Um, Maybe it's and always add on things that you know the child does well. Those are their freebies on the chart. So at home, what you do is, and I would do, you bring out the chart Sunday night. So the child knows, again, it's routine. You bring out that chart Sunday night, include if they do, if they brush their teeth, if they are reading, whatever else that they are doing that you know they do well. Maybe they're helping take out the trash. Um, Again, keeping it positive, the things that they do. Now, then you add in the other behavior. Instead of writing down, didn't bite my sister, I would write down, was nice to my sister, keeping it positive, because that's the behavior that you want, is be nice to my sister. So when you do that, put things on there, and you can keep it simple. You can start with 5 items or you can do 10, but at least have half of them be certain ones that the child is already doing uh, successfully. Now, we're going to go into the miracle question. I want you to sit back for a moment, close your eyes, and relax. Start breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Do that at least 4 more times on your own. Okay, and the last one, deep breath in, out through your mouth. Keeping your eyes closed, I want you to imagine that a miracle happened in the middle of the night. And in the middle of the night, you saw that things happen differently. So you wake up, and I want you to just do this first initially with just materialistic things, just to get you thinking. You wake up in your bedroom. What does it look like? Is your bed the same size? Is it larger, smaller? What do your windows look like? What are the view? What are the views you have from the window? Keeping your eyes closed, but scan around your new room. Get out of bed, walk down the hallway. What does your house look like? Where is it located? What are things that you want differently? And again, a miracle. So try not to rationalize it away. Don't say, well, that's not logical because we live over here. So to see the beach would be difficult. Just stay with your miracle. It's a miracle. Take a moment to look around and see what's different. Now, I want you to take another moment, still keeping your eyes closed. And in that miracle, maybe you're still in your same home, but there's things different with your child. And I don't mean taking away their autism. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, what do you want to see differently with the child? What behavioral things would you like to see differently? What are some things that you would like your child to achieve? Why you're doing this is for goal setting. I want you to come up with some goals for yourself as to what you would like to see differently. Now, with goal setting, it could be short baby steps. It could mean larger ones, but oftentimes you have to look at the short baby steps. But you initially have to have a vision of what you want to see differently with your child. And what is it going to take for you to achieve that? Okay, open your eyes. I want you to always keep this in mind. What you consistently work on does change. It does change. It may be small, it may be larger, but it does work on it. The other thing is that there's been so many studies with the human brain, and oftentimes humans tend to give up. We try, and it doesn't work. We give up. What I would like to encourage you to do is keep trying things. Keep trying, working on them. And instead of trying, do it. Make it happen for yourself. You may see after a month some of these things don't work for your child. That's okay. But you can actually say after a month or 6 weeks, this is what we did and it didn't work, but we modified it just a bit and it did work. Whatever you consistently work on does change. Now, let's talk a little bit more about this team I have. I have a wonderful team of people that can help support and assist you during this time. And what we'll be working on a lot is your support to prevent caretaker burnout, because that is big. You need to learn how to take care of yourself as well. But the other thing is certain techniques. So let me give you some of these nuggets, some of these gems of information. Watch your child's breathing patterns. See what's going on with your child. Maybe take them to certain locations that you know that they've had issues with tantrums or certain things, and try again that journal to look at what it is that's going on with them. Maybe you take them to a baseball game and you see what's going on. Maybe it's the getting them into the park with all the crowd of people. So maybe what you do is you get there late. And by getting there late, everyone is pretty much at their seat. No one's rushing to get to their seats. Maybe there's certain things that you could tweak, meaning you don't have to take everything away. Notice their breathing, what's going on, what it is that's making them get to that place. So those are some things you can do, especially with children who are nonverbal. Watch the breathing patterns. Now, the other thing we spoke about was music. Now, music again can be very, very calming. The other thing is looking to see what they like. What is it that they like? Okay, let me take another question really quick. Maureen, you said, I struggle with how to discipline my 10-year-old and knowing what is a result of the disability and what is deliberate. Yes, that is absolutely frustrating and can be anger producing because you don't know which is which. Keeping that journal might be a great idea for you because you can start to see what is manipulation and what is a result of the autism. Notice again, going back to breathing patterns, if it's nonverbal communication that they're struggling with, unable to connect that, having that stress and anxiety increase. So start looking to see. Oftentimes, the deliberate part is attention getting. Maybe they're feeling as though he's not getting enough attention. Maybe he or she's feeling as though um, what they have to say is not important. So there's a lot of those things that can go on. So you want to be careful. You want to be very, very careful with that. Okay. Christina, you wrote any suggestions on tearing apart pull-ups? I'm not exactly sure what you meant by that. So if you can give me shoot out another question to me, that would be great because I would like to be able to address that. Okay, you did talk about, somebody did here that doesn't have a name, talked about vaccines. There's a lot of research out there about vaccines, and a lot of it is not very definitive. That's something that you need to look into for yourself as a family if you're deciding to vaccinate um, or not. However, with the new thing that has passed and the government stepping in, that's going to make it a little bit more difficult for you to decide as a family. One of the biggest things that I do recommend for vaccines is to have them done spread out, not 5 at one time, because you can't see if there's a reaction or something else that is happening when you have that many. So I have always recommended spreading out vaccines just so you get an idea more of what's going on. Okay, Christina, there you go. That's what I thought it was, that he pulls them apart, your pull-ups. Okay. He uses the pieces as confetti and likes to watch the pieces fall from his fingers. I get it. It's fun. I get it. Okay. What I would do is get his pull-ups on instantly, put pants on, and if you can, put on pants or shorts with a belt, which makes it a little bit more difficult than a belt that he cannot pull off himself. Maybe there's one that's attached to the pants or the shorts to keep it a little bit more tightly on him, and then maybe give him something else to shred. Maybe he wants to shred something. He likes the confetti. Um, get some stamps for him to use. And what I mean, stamp cutouts to make his own confetti. Make sure that they are um, not large enough so that he can get, his little fingers in there. But give him something. He clearly wants to shred things and see the pieces falling from his fingers. I get it. Replace it. Replace it. So the undesirable behavior is for him to get the pull ups and pull them off and shred them. But what he wants and what he desires is to see the shredding fall from his fingers. So give him that by replacing it with something that is more acceptable for you. You can even give him a bowl to put, if you don't want to mess everywhere, give him a bowl. And then maybe, you know, have him use the chart and say after 3 days, you can drop it on the floor. And then you help him together with cleanup, because cleanup is, life skills training. Also, if he's helping you with a broom, it's helping him with his gross motor skills. All of these things can be teachable moments. Remember, many of these behaviors provide comfort for your child. So taking it away is not always the best, but you need to modify it in a way that's going to be acceptable for you. All right. So let me go to another question. And yes, Christine, I hope you got that at the end there with it being too messy. Different ways that you can modify that as well. Have them go up to that. Yes, absolutely, Christina. Construction paper, confetti, something easier to clean, but get him involved in making it. I think he would probably like it that you can make it. Someone wrote down essential oils. Yes, I am a firm believer in essential oils, but you need to be careful of what oils that are out there. There's some things that I would keep in mind. There are a lot of companies out there who make essential oils, but they mix it with other things, such as maybe even a vegetable oil. So those oils tend to be very oily. True essential oils are really not that oily. They go into the skin more and do not leave such a thick residue. The other thing to keep in mind is usually the essential oils that are found in amber glass, meaning yellowish, dark yellow, orangey glass, is much better than ones that come in clear glass. It's just something I had learned that I want like to pass on to you. But there's such amazing oils out there for calming. One of the biggest one is peppermint. Peppermint is fantastic for calming. Another one that was developed called Thieves is fantastic for immune system. It also gets them to orient themselves better. Eucalyptus is fantastic for that. Now, what I would recommend with the essential oils is the best way to apply them is at the bottom of the feet. Just add a little to the bottom of the feet. If you look at reflexology, it will affect all of those areas. But the other thing is, it's less able to, for the child to um, rub it off or anything like that. So, the other thing, though, would be to keep a small container in your purse or your pocket. I recommend, again, peppermint. I think it's extremely calming. And uh, the moment you see them, their breathing becomes more rapid or more shallow. They may be going into a place of stress and anxiety. So you can bring that peppermint oil out, have them just smell it. You can even keep it a foot from their face and wave the aroma to them. But that will instantly calm them. So yes, absolutely, I agree completely with essential oils. Now, all of this um, is is looking for ways to support you and provide solutions. I'm just reading another question. Give me one moment. Okay, somebody else had written. We talked about meltdowns. Um, okay. Again, with music, what type of music? Music is fantastic. All types of music that is calming. Again, no words. I really recommend no words. That would be so important to not pick something with words, just because it's very, very calming. The other thing is, I would reach out for um, to try and receive counseling. Now that is something that I offer to you. I want to give you these solutions and the support. So I want to talk about in joining us what you'll receive. You're going to receive weekly online meetings covering your specific issues and challenges, meaning when you join in on that, write your questions down. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about it because I bet your question somebody else is going to have, or somebody else's question is a question maybe you hadn't thought of. Like we've been talking about essential oils. Maybe you didn't think about that. So that weekly support is really good. The other thing is, that you'll be checking in and getting that support. So that alone provides you with a little bit of relief. And when we talked about in the beginning, the relief, um, so weekly support can provide that for you. Also, email support. If you have a question or a thought, um, all of this can be solutions for your family. So I do want you to think about that. Now, what I'd like you to do is take a moment to click the button below for more information on joining this group. I think you will get a lot out of it. We can, as you're doing those charts, as you're picking out that music, there's so many things you could do. There's touch therapy, there's tapping that we haven't even talked about right now. There's exercise, so many even praying. If your family enjoys praying and believes in praying and in their faith, there's so many different things that they can do, that you can do. So these are all things that we will be talking about over the next several weeks. So as you're using these certain techniques, you're going to see what's working, what's not working. Maybe we need to build on things. Maybe we need to add. Maybe we need to take away. But the best thing is to keep trying and keep working on these things because you will start getting relief from that. So, you will also receive access to the Autism Academy. What it is, it's a support system for parents and children with autism, and you'll be able to again engage and ask questions. You're in this all together. You know, this is where you're going to feel that support. And what's great is that you're going to see the support nationwide. There's going to be different things, different approaches that people use, different seminars that they've attended that maybe you didn't have access to. So, all of that is going to give you that help and support that you and your family need. So, I encourage you again to push that button and start getting the help um, that you need. At this point, I'd like to answer any more questions that have come about. So let me go ahead and look at some questions. Okay, someone asked about the tapping. Tapping approach is pretty much a distraction. So the tapping, it literally is a slight tap. I usually use my index or middle finger, one finger, and I tap. And what I do is it's a light tap, not too light, but it's pretty um, light. And I tap on the back, I'll tap on the wrist, I'll tap on the top of the hand, a lot of times on the elbow. And what I'm doing is I'm causing a distraction, and it's another causing another sensory to happen within the brain. So it's that sensation that they're feeling from the tapping that causes a distraction. This is used great when you start to see a tantrum beginning to escalate. You start seeing that breathing, the repetitive conversation, um, or nonverbal, they're rocking back and forth, and you see them getting to that escalated point of stress and anxiety. You start the tapping, and the tapping causes that distraction, and it sends up um, a message to the brain, and that takes away and it kind of jars them from their oftentimes focal point that seems to not be able to pull them apart from, but it creates that distraction directly to their brain. So we can talk about that more as well with the tapping. Okay. Oh, I see somebody else here wants to know more about charts. The charts again can be very small. You can use different charts for different things. For a child with or without autism, I recommend charts. I think they're excellent. I think it allows the child to have a level of responsibility for their own behavior and for them to see it. Most of the time, they become very proud of those charts because they see what's going on. They can see their progress, they can see how they're getting better. The other thing is, I would say, instead of throwing away those charts, is keeping those charts for a while and starting to see that progress or see what's working and what's not working, because that is what's key to all this. As you're going through it and you're persevering and you're dedicated to making change, you have to also see what is working and what's not working, what you need to add in, what you need to take away. I would, if your child is able, I would have them very involved with picking out the stickers or the stamps that you use. You may want to not use stickers, you may want to use stamps. You know, try not to make it too complex, but maybe you can use 4 different stamps, 4 different stickers for different things. But again, simple is better. The other thing is, if you're using a chart, please talk to your teachers. If you have older children, the school age children, let them know what you're doing. Maybe it's something that they can add in as well, so it's on a continuum. And what I mean by the continuum is that it's happening at home and at school. But again, we can discuss more about charts, what's working and what's not working. Okay, I have another question here. Someone says, shall I keep my child away from other children? I'd like to say absolutely no. I don't know what's going on with your child. I'm not seeing why you would want to keep your child away. I think it's important for your child to get accustomed to the world that they are in, learn how to be with other children. Now, I would recommend getting together with parents of children who are accepting of your child and will allow the process to occur. The other thing is, it's important for the other children to be in contact with your child, having them learn how to problem solve. The other part is learning empathy, tolerance, and acceptance of all people. I don't believe in separating children with autism at all. They have so much that they could teach other children. You know, many times they are so skilled in other areas, skilled in high levels of music and math, in the ability to retain information, memory. That's a gift. That's a huge gift that should not be kept from others as well. So, no, I do not recommend keeping children away, an autistic child, a child with autism, away from other children at all. So, we can again speak about that a little bit further around down the road. Okay, I have one last question that I'm seeing here, and that's about caretaker burnout. Um, this person wants to know in particular, what is caretaker burnout? What caretaker, you are the caretaker. Mom, dad, teachers, anybody involved with taking care of a child with autism is a caretaker. Caretaker burnout is exactly that, when you burn out from having to take care of your child. Now, this happens to all parents. All parents need a break, date night, getting out. Maybe they can go away for an evening if you have someone there to help you with, your children. Maybe it's escaping sometimes and going and getting, your nails done, or a pedicure, or a walk. Go out and exercise. Go out to dinner with a friend. Allowing you to take care of self, because when you take care of self, it allows you to regenerate yourself. And it's okay. It's okay. One of the things that I see repeatedly is the guilt that parents have. um, all parents, not just parents of children with autism, but all parents. You feel guilty. Maybe your reaction wasn't the best. Maybe you weren't feeling your best. Maybe you're not feeling well. We're all human, and we are going to get frustrated and we are going to get angry. But the key is to keep it in check, not linger with guilt over it. See what you have done and move forward. But part of that is also going to be keeping yourself in a less stressful place. Now, I don't mean moving to a different place, but in your mind. Keep your stress in different locations, keep your thought patterns in a place that is more productive. Uh, Again, that music, allowing yourself that gift of music to calm yourself down as well. Put it on every night. Maybe lay with your child when they're listening to the music. And then after, you go and listen to your own piece of music where you get to calm down and relax. Allow that to be your gift. It's 5 minutes. 5 minutes, you deserve 5 minutes. So, those are ways for you to reduce stress and anxiety, which could lead to caretaker burnout. So we're coming to the end now, and I would really like to reiterate that I'm sure you are all doing an amazing job. The fact that you're listening to this conversation today should tell you that you're doing so much for your child and that your child is so important. So I really congratulate you on that and taking the time to find out solutions that are going to help you and your family. I'd like to continue to help you, and I'd like you to continue to gain that support that is so vital in keeping you in a place where you can be the most help for your child and for yourself. So, click on the button, and I encourage you to join And I look forward to spending many more times with you, discussing your questions, discussing your life, and offering you the support, tools, and skills for a better you and a better journey for your family. Thank you.